The Rings of Power, A Tale of Deception. Before you read, imagine a world where powerful rings grant incredible abilities. What price could be paid for such power? Think of this. Now let's read. A long time ago, peace reigned after a terrible war in a world called Middle-earth. Elves, with their pointed ears and magical skills, lived alongside humans and dwarves, strong and skilled in their own ways. But an evil shadow lurked in the darkness, Sauron, a powerful being who desired to control everything. To deceive everyone, Sauron pretended to be a helpful spirit named Anatar. He approached the elves, who were the greatest craftspeople, and offered to teach them how to create powerful rings. These rings of power would grant the wearers great abilities, like healing the land and preserving beauty. The elves, wise and trusting, believed Anatar. They poured their hearts and magic into forging 19 rings. But secretly, Sauron forged one ring himself, the One Ring, to rule over all the others. This ring held his greatest power, but it also corrupted whoever wore it. 3 rings were given to the elves, for they valued wisdom and beauty above all else. 7 rings were given to the dwarves, known for their love of crafting and desire for wealth. And 9 rings were gifted to powerful human leaders, promising them long life and dominion. Sauron hoped the rings would make everyone his slaves. The elf rings worked as intended, helping to heal and preserve. But the rings of men twisted their wearers' minds. The human leaders became greedy and powerful, turning into the Nazgul, Sauron's terrifying wraith-like servants. The dwarves, though strong against corruption, were driven mad by the rings' lust for gold, leading to wars and greed within their mountains. The elves, realizing the danger, hid their rings. But Sauron, furious at their defiance, unleashed his armies, plunging Middle-earth into a new war. The War of the Rings and the Last Alliance. The War of the Rings raged across Middle-earth. Sauron's vast armies of orcs, trolls, and corrupted men swept across the land, leaving a trail of destruction. The elves, led by the mighty elven king Gil-galad, fought valiantly to defend their lands. But the power of Sauron's forces was immense. Meanwhile, the dwarves, consumed by the greed instilled by their rings, remained largely isolated in their mountain strongholds, unwilling to risk their newfound wealth for a war they saw as none of their concern. Among men, however, a flicker of hope emerged. Isildur, a young prince of the kingdom of Gondor, discovered a shard of a broken sword forged in an age before. This was Narsil, a blade imbued with the power to harm Sauron. Hope surged through the hearts of the remaining free men, uniting them under the banner of the Last Alliance. Elves and men, bound by a desperate need for survival, forged a powerful alliance. Gil-galad and Elendil, the High King of Gondor, led their combined forces in a massive assault against Mordor, Sauron's dark realm. The battles were fierce, the ground soaked with blood. Many heroes fell, their bravery echoing through the ages. The tide of the war turned at the very foot of Mount Doom, the fiery heart of Mordor. There, in a clash of legends, Gil-galad and Elendil confronted Sauron himself. The battle was epic, shaking the very foundations of the mountain. Though both elf and man perished, they managed to overpower Sauron, severing his finger that held the One Ring. Isildur, witnessing the fall of his father, had the chance to end Sauron's threat forever by destroying the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom. However, overcome by the ring's power and the promise of unimaginable dominion, Isildur claimed it for himself. This act of greed proved disastrous. Though Sauron's physical form was destroyed, his spirit remained bound to the One Ring. This ensured that one day, he would return. The last alliance had achieved a great victory, but the war was not truly over. The fate of Middle-earth still hung in the balance, forever tied to the existence of the One Ring. Isildur, forever corrupted by the ring, was later ambushed and killed. The One Ring was lost for centuries, buried in a river, waiting to be found and unleash its evil once more. The remaining rings of power continued to exert their influence, subtly shaping the events of Middle-earth, setting the stage for future conflicts and the eventual rise of new heroes who would face the lingering threat of Sauron. Sauron's darkness may seem daunting, but even the smallest act of courage can make a difference. How can you bring more light and good into your world today? Think about it. This story is a television series based on J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed the story. Like and subscribe to Go English Stories. See you in my next video.